Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today is a special day. Today I released my new freestyle frame, the Osiris. So if you don't already know, I run a little company called HaloRC where I design and sell various FPV products, mainly frames. And yeah, I've only ever released one freestyle frame, but I've ended up with 3 race frames now. I wanted to start work on a new freestyle frame that just concentrated on making it as light as possible, while still being able to carry all the components that I was running. To design a lightweight frame, I figured that the first thing I needed to do was not have the arms go to the center of the frame. So obviously the arms, being the thickest bit of carbon on the frame, being that there's 4 of them, means that they account for the vast majority of the weight of any drone frame. The one thing you have to concentrate on when you want to make a light frame, which I've learned from the race frames, is the arms and making them as light as possible, while retaining as much durability as you need for the frame that you're designing. Now, this being a freestyle frame, it had to carry a GoPro and the weight of a GoPro, components, a big antenna, big heavy motors. It does still need to be strong enough and durable enough to carry all those components. So I set about thinking about ways to make the arms lighter, and obviously when you look at a frame and you look at the prop on a frame and the disc that it creates, you need to make that arm go from the center of the prop to the frame in the shortest distance. So if you've got your prop up here, the longest you could make it is by having it go to the center of the frame. Most of my frames have the arms going to the center of the frame. Now that means that you just create a really strong body because all 4 arms connect to each other. All of the arms have got 2 points of contact, so they remain nice and tight. They all butt up against each other and they all work together to create a strong frame. Back when I started FPV, it was all about having usually one-piece arms, so dual arms, one at the front, one at the back, a big long body, all your stuff in the middle. But we moved on to X frames just because it made the frames a lot stronger, even though it did add weight. So I was thinking I need to go back to splitting the arms so that they're joining at the front and the back of the frame, so that the arms are shorter and it makes the whole frame lighter. But I needed to come up with a way of keeping the frame as strong as it would be if they were all meeting in the center of the frame. So that's when I came up with the idea of the spine. So the idea of the spine is that it acts kind of as a 5th arm, and it runs down the center of the frame and connects the 2 front arms with the rear 2 arms. What this does is means that each of the 4 arms now has the same 2-point contact as it would if they were all meeting in the middle. It also means that you've got a 5mm thick piece of carbon running down the center of the frame, which makes it super rigid. The frame weight now, the 5-inch, is 95 grams, including the TPU camera mount and a TPU SMA antenna mount. That all comes complete with the frame. And yeah, the frame weight is 95 grams. The 6-inch version, so there's a 5 and a 6-inch version. The 6-inch version is 98 grams. It's just 3 grams heavier. If you can get an alloy hardware pack like this is running, that reduces the weight by 5 grams. So that can bring the weight down to 90 grams, including the TPU. So it's a 90-gram freestyle frame. As standard, the frame comes on 20mm standoffs, so it's a low deck. The front of the frame has more space than the rest because the bottom plate actually forms the front of the frame, and the middle plate forms the rear of the frame. So the front of the frame actually ends up having 6.5mm extra room. So there's standoff height packs on the website as well available, so you can raise it from 20 to 25 or to 30mm standoffs along the body. So by lowering that front section, it just means that you can fit pretty much any camera in there. And as I said, if you raise the standoffs, then you could even fit a full size 28mm wide HS1177 like we used to run. But of course I don't recommend you run one of those. I suggest you run a micro camera, and that's why it comes complete with a micro camera mount. The top plate, all level, all on the same height of standoffs. That allows for your HD camera mount to be as low as 0 degrees, whereas all my other frames have got like a carbon front end and inbuilt 20 or 30 degree camera angle for your HD mount. So obviously this is going to be a good option if you're going to be running really low camera angle and doing some like slow follow footage, or real steady footage and things like that. So I noticed with my Archon, a lot of people were buying it who are just getting into FPV and they don't have a HD camera yet. So I saw loads of people flying it without running a HD camera and hadn't even looked at the frame in that way before. So the battery was always mounted right at the back, which is fine because it was intended for a HD camera at the front to balance it out. So I wanted to address that with this frame, so I've actually put slots so that you can run 2 LiPo straps in the middle of the frame and have your battery dead center for when you're not running a HD camera, or there's slots so you can mount the battery at the back and run your HD camera at the front like I do. This was actually the first frame that I designed that used the spine, and then I went on to use the same idea, the same concept for the RA, and the RA got finished before this one, so that's out now. That actually is a bottom mount frame for racing, and you feed the battery strap through the bottom plate. You could technically do that here, so there would be an option if you wanted to run bottom mount battery, or indeed top and bottom mount battery, and run them in series or parallel, whichever one it is, to not double your voltage, and run 2 batteries and make a super long range 6-inch monster. That would be a quite cool thing to see, and definitely something I'll probably end up doing by the end of the winter. Obviously, as I said earlier, you can fit a 20 by 20 stack or a 30 by 30 stack in the middle. There's also a 20 by 20 mounting holes in the rear of the frame, so you could put a 4-in-1 ESC in the middle and a flight controller at the back, which is how I was running mine for a while. And I'm technically, I'm actually running it like that now. My latest videos is running the FC at the back and the 4-in-1 ESC in the middle. As I said, I've been working on this frame for about a year now, so I've actually gone through 8 different prototypes. The first 5 of those were just analog because that's all there was to fly in the world, and then when Bifrost came along, I put that into the Osiris. That was the first thing that went into, so flew Bifrost on it for a while, and then I ended up buying DJI as well. So I started off just using the DJI in my RA because I wasn't too sure how I was going to fit it into an Osiris. So me, my sponsored pilots and my mates were like all talking about it and coming up with different methods of mounting it into the frame. And I designed a few different mounts, and we've been testing different methods of running the DJI system in the frame. So I've come up with 2 different methods. This one that I'm working on, this is going to be my next build. This allows you to still run the 20mm standoffs, and you run the air unit at the back there using a TPU mount. You remove 2 of the standoffs to allow you to do that. and you reduce the amount of space in the middle for mounting your flight controller and 4-in-1 ESC. But as long as you're running a 20 by 20 stack and you're happy to mount it sideways, there is enough room in there. You just have to be nice and tidy with your build. My mate Sam and sponsored pilot Tube Master, he's been testing this method, and actually my mate Jamie was the guy who came up with the idea of running it like this, so got to give props to him for coming up with the idea. They've been both testing it this way and they say it runs fine. There's no, obviously you do reduce the strength of the frame slightly, but because this is a bit of a unique frame and it's got the spine there's so much rigidity in the frame that it doesn't really flex very much, so you're not relying on the top plate for that strength. So just removing those standoffs doesn't reduce the frame durability enough to worry about. So that's why I'm building up this one as my second. My main quad that I've been running the DJI in for about a month or so now, 6 weeks, maybe 2 months. That uses the TPU cradle in the middle that lifts up the air unit over a 4-in-1 ESC, and then you run the flight controller in the back. For running the DJI system, people are either going to be running the stock antennas or similar, or they'll be running MMCX to SMA connectors. So I've come up with a couple of different TPU mounts that are similar to what we use on my race frames, where they attach to the rear standoffs and actually hook over the top plate, and the top plate is used to hold them in place so they don't get pulled down. I've designed a similar thing for a dual DJI antenna and a dual SMA antenna option. I've spent quite a lot of time making sure that I go over all the different points of the frame on the website, so your best bet is to head over to the HaloRC website, link in the description. There's loads of photos there that I've been using throughout this video to show you what I'm talking about. So I've tried to create as many different options as I can to keep everybody happy, and rather than just release the frame and some different random things that I've come up with and expect everybody else to test it for me, me and a few of my trusted friends and sponsored pilots have been testing this for ages now, and I've been teasing videos for a while with it in the title. So yeah, it was about time I finally got round to releasing the frame, and here it is. I'll be happy to take any questions you have, so please leave those in the comments, and as I said, head over to the website and check out all the information that I've put up on there and all the extra photos, and yeah, I hope you like it, and hope you can appreciate the amount of work that's gone into it, and yeah, and I look forward to hearing what you think. So yeah, take care and Merry Christmas. Have a good one, everyone, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video soon. Laters.